This is the Samsung Galaxy A22 and this is the Samsung Galaxy A32. The A22 is an impressive budget offering from Samsung, the most affordable smartphone with optical image stabilization, a feat not even the Galaxy A32 can boast of. And that is not all. It runs on the same processor powering the A32, and that is the Mediatek Helio G80. One might begin to wonder if this is a better deal than the Galaxy A32. Well, this is a video comparing the Samsung Galaxy A22 to the A32. How similar are they, or how different are they when compared? What is up guys, it's Easy here again with another comparison, hoping to help you make that purchase decision between the Samsung Galaxy A22 and the A32. They are both 4G versions, both with a 90Hz Super AMOLED display and also both powered by the Mediatek Helio G80 processor. These are the major similarities between them. They are both good smartphones and I can recommend them, having reviewed them on the channel. I have links in the description. If you are intending to buy any of these smartphones, you can also use my affiliate links, which will also be in the description. While it may seem that the Samsung Galaxy A32 and A22 are similar in specifications, you may actually find that there are a couple of things that separate them, which accounts for the price difference. With these differences, you get to decide whether they are enough to make you splash the cash and buy the A32 or save some money and go for the A22 instead. First off, we'll start with their design and build quality. In this department, I might say there is no competition and the Galaxy A32 is the better designed device, but that is my personal preference, which might be very different from yours. If you've seen my previous reviews, I've always commended the design of the Galaxy A32, many thanks to its rare design, which I'll say is unique compared to every other existing device. Its rear cameras are neatly arranged in individual low-profile bumps. The Galaxy A22 has a familiar design we've seen more than once, most recently on the Galaxy A12. Its rear cameras are arranged in a square bump, but I must say the violet and mint colors of the A22 look gorgeous. Both devices have a plastic rear build with a glossy finish. On the display, the Galaxy A32 has the stronger Gorilla Glass 5. Samsung has not specified what glass is on the Galaxy A22, so it likely isn't Gorilla Glass. Regardless, if you are careless with either of them, you're going to damage the display. Glass will break when dropped. The A32 is just more resistant. They both have similar ports and button placements, both with a headphone jack, but in the retail box only the A22 comes with earphones. Both support 15 watts fast charging and have the same battery capacity of 5000 mAh. Neither the Samsung Galaxy A22 nor A32 have stereo speakers, just a button-firing mono speaker. The power button on the Samsung Galaxy A22 also functions as its fingerprint scanner. On the A32 we have an in-display fingerprint scanner. They are both responsive and work just fine, but you will find the A22 to be the faster one and the most accurate, which is understandable. It's a physical fingerprint scanner. The display of the Samsung Galaxy A22 and that of the A32 are both 6.4 inches in size, both Super AMOLED with identical Infinity U design and 90Hz refresh rate. The Samsung Galaxy A32 has a resolution of 1080 by 2400, while the A22 has a resolution of 720 by 1600. In reality, you can barely tell them apart from just looking. The 720p Super AMOLED display on the A22 is that good. The A32 actually has a sharper display, but to notice it you are going to need to look much closer and for a few seconds. The A32 has the higher peak brightness of 800 nits, while the A22 has 600 nits of peak brightness. Now the Samsung Galaxy A22 available in this region are of two variants, 64 and 128GB memory options, both having 4GB of RAM, retailing for 89,100 and 97,900 naira respectively. That is just under $200 for both options. The Galaxy A32 on the other hand has 6GB of RAM and 128GB of storage, and it retails for 117,000 naira or about $240. On software, they are both on Android 11 and running on One UI 3.1. However, we have the core version of One UI on the Galaxy A22, which lacks features like Smart View and Secure Folder. These features are present on the Samsung Galaxy A32. Also, the A32 alongside the A52 and A72 will get up to 3 years of major OS upgrades. For the A22, I reckon only 2. With that said, you are going to get similar software experience on both devices as with any other Samsung devices running on One UI. The 90Hz refresh rate experience on both devices are similar, and the higher display resolution on the A32 makes no noticeable difference. Where the display resolution might slightly differ on performance is on the battery life. They both have 5000 mAh battery and can get you a full day of use on a full charge, but you are more likely to get slightly longer battery life on the A22 thanks to its lower display resolution. Since they both run on the same Mediatek processor, the performance is expected to be mostly the same except for the difference in RAM size. The benchmark scores on both devices are close, with the A32 having the slightly higher Antutu benchmark score and the A22 having the slightly higher Geekbench scores. In an app launch speed test, the Samsung Galaxy A32 is the faster device. The gaming performance on both the Samsung Galaxy A22 and A32 are similar, though the A32 gets the edge as it has more RAM. They will both run graphics demanding games at medium settings and do it just fine without hitting issues. That is in my experience at least. The cameras of the Samsung Galaxy A22 and A32 is where you see some differences in specifications. The selfie camera on the A32 is 20 megapixels compared to the 13 megapixel selfie camera on the A22. On the rear cameras, both have a quad configuration. The Samsung Galaxy A22's rear camera comprises of a 48 megapixel main camera with optical image stabilization, an 8 megapixel ultra-wide camera, 2 megapixel macro and 2 megapixel depth sensor. The Samsung Galaxy A32 has a rare combination of a 64 megapixel main camera, no OIS like the A22, similar 8 megapixel ultra-wide, a higher 5 megapixel depth sensor and 5 megapixel macro cameras. The pictures taken from both phones are great, and you will find those of the A22 to be especially surprising, being the cheaper device. You might even choose it to have the better rear camera photos, and I find that to be really impressive. In some cases it even does better with colors. Both devices are also capable of night mode photography. For selfies, the Samsung Galaxy A32 does better in my opinion with sharper images, but the A22 comes really close and looks a lot similar. On video, they can both shoot 1080p at 30 frames per second from both the selfie and the rear cameras. The Samsung Galaxy A22 has the edge with optical image stabilization, and it produces more stable footage.
Okay, testing. It's a selfie camera comparison between two phones with a similar processor, that is the Helio G80. We're talking about the Samsung Galaxy A22 and the A32, both 4G versions. The A32 4G has a 20 megapixel camera for a selfie camera, while the A22 has a 13 megapixel for a selfie camera. Both phones can only do 1080p 30 from both their selfie and their rear cameras. Let me know what you think about the video quality and the microphone quality between these two phones. Peace out.
Now, from the comparison so far, here is my summary. The Samsung Galaxy A32 is a really good device with good specifications. It should be your choice if you want the sharper display, the better selfie camera, though that is debatable, and more RAM, which should fare better for multitasking. Also, more features on One UI and longer software support. But the Samsung Galaxy A22 seems like a pretty good deal, and probably even the better deal. It has really impressive cameras, and don't forget with optical image stabilization. Similar performance to the Galaxy A32 as it is powered by the same processor, and most importantly, it is the more affordable device. So, which one do you choose? The Samsung Galaxy A32 or the A22? I'd like to know in the comments. Now, if you find this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and also consider subscribing to the channel. Peace out.